had time to study them as well as G2 for them. See how this starts. Golementa probably gonna take up that info on B long. The side with the attack. It's probably straight to side A.
Toxins going up.
We go from the hot temperatures of Breeze to something sub-zero on ICEBOX. G2, well, their attacking half wasn't necessarily all that bad on Breeze. It was their defense that they went 4-8 down on. Vitality hoping to not have that kind of struggle. Big differences in the composition. Both running Vipers, both running Sages, both running Jets and Sovas. It is the Sage on one side, the Reyna on the other. Oh no, both of Sages even. It's the Killjoy Reyna that's the stark difference overall, so that's going to dramatically change how both these teams want to play this map.
Yeah, definitely. And the attack, it's coming in. Pretty strong. Sender is trying to retain this, but Mixwell ends with his life. The fact that it's trying to find Calyx. But still, it's a 4v2. The spike that's going to be planted right now. And we need to retake this on a 4v2.
Shocked out from Loki, trying to catch onto a player, but they've long left where the spike was dropped. Mixwell with a triple kill brings up G2 for the first round of ICEBOX. Need to pull the whole map if we're going to the full best of 3 onto Ascent, which is a map that we've seen G2 play quite a bit. They look comfortable on. Yeah. This is Vitality's home, so to speak. It's only 1 round.
Yeah, and we saw Mixwell using that Viper wall on B side. Vitality didn't want to be aggressive. They didn't gather the info, so the rotation was coming in too late because they were so explosive. It was like a flash round for G2. First one for them. They're gonna be able to afford great buy for this round. Only a Marshall on back's end for Vitality, if I'm not wrong.
This Kellogg's trying to make himself known with the help of Coldamenta's Aldra, and they're going to make their way onto sort of B main.
Sander took a little hit. He healed himself. Mixwell here only with the ghost, thinking of that 3rd round of that bonus. Kellogg's finding Jasmine. Oh, Mixwell's complicated position here. Never mind. Help comes in by Nuki. Ends with Sender. The attack on B side was too explosive for them. They're really low. Only Vag's alive. Spike is running towards B right now. Yeah, Vag's gonna try and find maybe another kill, but this round is pretty much over.
Even Vac might not be able to make much room as Nuki on the high ground. He manages to survive, considering Vac is already pretty low health. It's a bit of a feat in itself. Now try and move on over to different places. No point in really saving if it's just going to be the classic.
Yeah, exactly. It would be really bad for him not to die here. He was making that noise with the ropes because he didn't have the info where the other players are. But if he stays alive... I see it as a very bad choice. Okay. Oh, Team Ace. Beautiful.
Everybody chipped in. I think that's really one of the easy ways to sum up for this G2 team. Everybody looks good. Now Vitality with this full buy coming in. Sender, of course, buying the Marshall means that he can't afford as much. Half armor and a Guardian. He's going to be trying to play in from Kitchen by the looks with the help of Vac. For G2, well, it's kind of easy to understand what they're about to try, at least. With these smaller guns with the SMG and a Marshall. Might as well try and bull rush onto this A site. Brams might have a lot to hit him with. He's got a lot of utility to stall up G2.
Yeah, and the aggression from Vitality that comes onto mid, they're going to spout no one there but that smoke. Viper wall that's already been set up. The rotation coming in from Vitality. And yeah, they gotta mirror what they did in the first round. That would be pretty great for them with these SMGs.
This Vac is just gonna keep an eye on Rafters. Now G2 have been taken away from the action a little bit. Vitality more than happy to give up the space because they're just fine in duels. Kellogg's runs into the sightline of Brams. There is a little bit of a pinch coming in from Sender, but it's a patient one. The Guardian does catch on to Mixwell. Now Vova holding on, trying to spray in close with the SMGs. But it was good play from Vitality, knowing that it was going to be those close quarters guns, those SMGs. They fought at distance because of it.
Yeah, and they, as you said, they picked their duels pretty smart. They knew that they had the advantage. They allowed them to plant the spike. Again, it was a bonus from G2. They're gonna go now onto a full buy. Kellex was maybe thinking of that operator. It's not having that much impact on this first 3 rounds, so he cannot go with that Stormblade. And yeah, here it comes, the operator. See if they can stop him, because they do not have flashes now. They don't have Sender on that breach. He's on the Sage doing nice work, but still, no flashes.
And attacking up, though, is interesting.
It always is.
Really? Yeah, you need to be a little bit careful. I don't think it's going to be the first thought on Vitality's mind, but it is just the Viper with that utility over there and more holding towards the inside of mid. Nice little angle to play from, but it's a lot of room that Vitality are effectively giving G2 for free.
Yeah, and Vac coming on top of that tube. He made noise. He gave up his position from G2, playing pretty standard. See, actually, we see Kellex is taking up pretty much all of B. They have that Viper wall. They don't have all the info, but that drone from Coldamenta is going to get the rest. Mixwell waiting from his spawn. Let's see if he specs Sender as well. He's smart enough to expect him there.
Poison's off.
Pretty aggressive and slow from Vitality. They decided to take out that mid, but that was not enough. Great cleanup.
Just in that moment where Vitality's comms are going to fire up, just as Nuki gets her first kill, Maxwell's able to punish Vitality just a little more with that mid control. Kellox is in B. No place is safe for Vitality, but they're running away from the action, looking to save.
Oh.
And if they can actually take the operator out the hands of Kellox now that he's fluffed his lines a little bit, then that would be even better. Make the best of a bad situation, and because he's on his own, he's still able to hold on.
Oh,
the shock
no!
dart, however, means that Mixwell is full on sprinted to try and pick up the operator, and he can't quite grab it in time.
So close yet so far. He hit the shot, but he also hit the shock dart on himself. That was unlucky. Still full cleanup from G2. We were talking about that operator on attack. We didn't get much of it just from that last kill. Also, we saw Vitality being aggressive again on mid. Didn't find anything and couldn't breach from there. Pretty smart from G2. Mixwell finding those two at the beginning, opening the space. So they do. Looking for Stormblade here. Are they gonna allow him to have it? Looks like they are.
Kellox fighting from Belt. Yet again, the L drone is going to try and clear up where these Vitality players are playing from. Considering this slower, Vac is in a very precarious position. Bladestorm's forced out, and luckily Sender's there to actually protect the teammate. It's actually going to force Vova away from this fight altogether, and that's because Mixwell seems to believe that this B site is moderately free. Wasn't expecting Brams to rotate as quick as he did, but that's really because he wasn't that far away overall. Now Vova in a 1 versus 4. Still heading towards B.
Yeah, still pretty impossible for him. He may get the plant. He also had the rest. Maybe that's what they were thinking when they rotated to B. They thought it was a safe zone. If he gets 1 kill, or if he plants a spike, he's going to have the rest. Although I don't think he will use it. Maybe if he finds it on Brams here, you can think of it. Still have 35 seconds. He can do it.
Well, he's got plenty of time to get the spike planted as well. Where
gonna
he
go for
goes
mix?
next is going to be super important. Like the fact
Yeah,
that he
he
still
is.
has the wall, but he's now going to be
Oh.
open up for Loki to get the kill, and the res was an important part of the master plan, but unfortunately it goes to waste. Quite surprised that they weren't really expecting a player to come in from Snowman, to be honest. I mean, that's where they're going to rotate through. Easiest kill of Loki's life.
Yeah, he didn't have the info with that long rotation. Obviously, they spotted Mixwell there, got the kill. When they heard the spike planting, it was pretty much a done deal. Say maybe, and only maybe, if he would have rested Mixwell earlier, like before getting the spike down, they would have had enough time to get into a safe position. But again, let's not talk ifs. Seeing Kellex is only gonna buy that full shit and his abilities, and he's gonna get that orb. They're gonna fight for it to get his Stormblade into the game. If it works for him, because Vac has other plans for it.
Well, he used the Blade Storm in the last round, but it wasn't really necessary. Sender was the one that played off of his precarious position, and it was the one that won out. The ultimate's still being dedicated from Vitality. Loki, well, this Fury sort of fired in through mid, and Doesn't change up too much from what G2 are trying. Mixwell waiting for this Sage wall placed down from Sender to break. But backs out, doesn't want to try and lurk in this spot, but is going to keep a hold of this mid position. Maybe the Killjoy needs to be a bit aware that it could be a hit from here. But there's a lot of utility of hers on aim. She's probably more focused on nailing that down. And Sender, he knows the timing of the wall, takes that fight into Mixwell.
Yeah, and he also knows that Mixwell has been loving this mid side. He's been taking control of it. Not all the time so successfully as he would have wanted to. They managed with this lockdown to push them away from A side. They only have 35 seconds briefly to get on side. Nuki finds Loki. But, Abel's again. 4v4. Sender is playing amazingly today.
Oh, and is lonesome as well. Thin ice, if he screws up, it gives a lot of space to G2, but he's not really done that throughout this series at all yet. In fact, it's his to clutch up now. The Vova is going to be able to plant the spike, and you're right, the Resurrect is available, and it's why Cinder looks like he's Scarpering. Loki, the choice is an interesting one, but having that recon dart to be able to fight up this clutch is good, and a Vova just escaping the battlefield and going somewhere entirely different might be even better.
He might even heal himself. He's only missing 11 points of health.
He's got a lineup for it. He should be able to like wall bang that position, or at least peeks from it.
Yeah. Also, it's very smart from Sender. He didn't even hesitate on running to Loki when he was in a 1v1 position.
Trying to find the right pixels, and they are the correct ones.
They have to, though.
Shot darts. It's a flimsy attempt, but Evolver making it right from the previous clutch. I say that up until he gets a bit too close, celebrating.
He got overexcited. You know, it happens. He maybe didn't count enough. He saw the 2 seconds, and maybe when he turned around, it was because of his teammates saying, "Hey, hey, 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 it's gonna explode," you know?
Yeah.
Fourth
He's
round
too busy
for
doing
G2.
the imaginary fist bumps to his team because they're don't even think in the same room. I think everybody's playing at home for G2. I'm not 100% sure. Some teams are playing boot camps. I know Rick's GG are currently in London. I think both these teams playing from the comfort of their own homes.
Let's see if they're comfortable enough. This is gonna be a train wreck here on B side. Are they expecting all those players? Are still in this Chico. Hellis finds 2. Ricky finds Sender. Colamente here. Oh, this is gonna be a pretty fast one. Colamente is only with the Spectre. Didn't have enough money. Probably crying onto why Eboba didn't save that gun that last round, but still manages to get the round to G2 again. Full buy. Coming back to Vitality. And this defense is not looking entirely maybe as good as they expected to.
Problem as well, really, for Vitality is they kind of used a lot of ultimates in one foul swoop. So the Hunter's Fury and the Resurrect, the round previous to last. And the Blade Storm and the Lockdown was also used recently as well. There is a Viper's Pit. It's going to be used on B main, but that's not really an area where G2 have pushed all that much. The only one that's been feeling it out has been Kellox, but he's all the way in orange, and he might be able to catch a duel onto Sender, but Sender's really not let anything past him at this point. Vax, the one playing in Tube, is going to back out as much as he possibly can. There's a lot chasing him, including that Hunter's Fury, and Sender still wins that duel onto Kellox.
Yeah, but Colamente avenges the death of his teammate. Mixwell again with this mid pressure onto the kitchen, finds back. 4v3 right now. That Viper's Pit, apparently, it's gonna be crossed by G2. They use that drone to get the info. Where is he? Oh. Close enough.
I don't know how necessary that was, because that was a Viper's Pit placed in that position, and now the economy of ultimates for G2 is just starting to stretch itself out. Now it's suddenly a 4 versus 1. Only a short second ago it was a 3 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 and doable for Vitality. It's forced out at least a little bit more for G2. Not quite as flawless as the last round, but only losing Kellox. Hunter's Fury, Resurrect, Viper's Pit, all used in one round. Vitality might not have felt that bad about losing it. However, they're going to have to eco this one.
Yeah, they're gonna have to eco this one. And also, we were talking these previous days about how Mixwell is doing on that mid part of the map. this is the problem. If you give Mixwell the space and you give him allowance to go into kitchen, he's gonna move around the map. He's always gonna be where you less expect him to. This is what happened here. Managed to get at least 2 kills on this round, creating a lot of space and giving a lot of pressure for his team. Pretty clean for them, and this eco should be mostly the same.
Scores on the doors. Ascend 1-0 up against Big. Team Liquid 1-0 up against Finest. Fnatic 1-0 up against 10-Star. Of course, here Team Vitality 1-0 up against G2 Esports. But more and more, it's starting to look like it's going to 1-all. Wasn't Nucky getting that kill, luckily. It was Mixwell, because, I mean, if I'm that Vitality player, I'm mad if Nucky's finishing that kill.
We're still battling that fight. It's only going to be Jessamine that managed to pick up this Vandal. Still, the spike has been planted. And there's 3 of the G2 members just looking out for him, playing inside, waiting for him to make the first move. Clementa shoulder peeking. Using his lineups as well. It's not gonna get touched by that Venom just yet. And I think he heard you.
He just wants to get into the head of Vitality, and for the most part, I'd say it's working. G2, you know, on a map like Breeze, screwing the pooch a little bit. Understandable. New map, it's teething problems, and Vitality are not a bad team. But this map, I feel that Vitality should have had it hunkered down just a little bit more. And there's been great moments for players like Sender. I don't even think individually they've been underperforming. There is a big investment. The Operator, Vac is it on rafters. G2, frankly, haven't ran A all that much. Every time they have done, it's gone really poorly. It's more the mid-round in, catching kills in mid, going over to B. If I can find a kill early, it might be able to take the wind out of the sails for G2.
Also, maybe missing a timeout from Vitality with the 7 rounds that G2 has gotten in attack. They were probably expecting those, but come on, it's your pick. You know you're in a 1-0 situation. You really want this map to be yours.
Oh, Sender is holding on still. That's 2 for him. Avova gonna try and protect out 3 members of G2 as the spike is going down. Mixwell going to try and push and face and might get more than what he was expecting. Brams is just head-on facing. Avova's position given up from Loki. And the A hit, again, not going great for G2. Holdamenta peeks out into multiple people. A nice timed double peek from Vitality. And a well-deserved 3rd round.
As you were saying, A was not going to be easy for them. And also with that big investment that was Vox Operator, they really needed to get this round. They only have 2 left from this defense to really make a difference. And it would be, I think, really important for them to score the last 2. Because I don't think it's a bad score, you know, coming from defense to go 5-7. I think it's pretty decent, especially specifically with this ICEBOX map that we've all been seeing. Major teams just being amazing on attack and just, you know, with the big flaws on defense.
Off the back of Cinder again, finding multi-kills, he is just good old reliable for this team. He has the Resurrect, as does the Killjoy with the Lockdown. Plenty for Vitality to finish this half strong. For Avova, the Empress can just make him a little bit more scary. Not Avova, Nucky. The other Heretics player.
Avova as well. They come together, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel it that way.
Like anti-death. I don't know if there's any like Spanish celebrity duos that are worth, you know, that come as a, you know, anti-deck, Bill and Ben. Anything like that in Spain? No?
I'm thinking. Right now you caught me off guard. Iconic
There's like
duos in
10,000
Spain.
Spanish fans watching you. Just like the chat'll have an answer, surely.
I'm sure chat knows.
Might just be a British thing. We just like everything in duos. Orville and Dean.
I'm sure there's lots of it.
Dick and Dom. We have a lot of them in the UK, actually, the more that I think about it.
30 seconds left.
The Lockdown actually used more to create space than to shut down a retake for G2. Or a post plan, even.
One enemy remaining.
And they're again finding a lot, and the Vova finds himself in this duel alone. Takes out one for Jesman, and Brahms isn't afraid to get in and get stuck in deep. He's played a lot of different agents in his time. Mostly been on Jet, but played the Omen and now on the Killjoy. It's not been as maybe noticeable as Mixwell's has been, not to put them against each other like that, but I think Brahms is putting a good performance.
Yeah, he is. Both him and Sender, at least today, their performance is almost impeccable. And as I was saying, it was really important for Vitality to score this last two. Let's see if they get the last one back again with that operator. I think he would really make a difference. And also Sender, I hope he's playing in yellow, so he's maybe waiting for Vag to fall to something and come help him with that res. See if that can happen. He's really gonna go for an aggressive pick here. Oh,
nice little flick up. Kellogg's actually is the one to do some damage first, but not anything lethal. I think Vak overstays his welcome there just a bit too much. Not only is that brought G2 even, but the Resurrect actually gives them the number advantage. Now Sender's still trying to hold on. It's a nice snakebite that actually comes in from Mixwell. Nucky's more than prepared to push off of it.
Yeah, Loki that had to back, and Sender was completely sold out there. He was trying to help his friend Vag, but he couldn't, as the pressure from G2 was too strong, especially with that Venom from Viper. And Plant's gonna be here anytime soon. Not a Boba.
Jesman gets a kill from beyond the grave. Two members of Vitality, both coming in from the same position into orange, and Loki having the battle drone is going to try and quickly see if there's anything nearby. It's destroyed early. Mixwell catches Brahms as he goes in for another fast peek. Goes in to clear up for the third. G2 finishing this half the same way they lost it on Breeze. Now they're on the defense, and Vitality on their map pick is now starting to look a little bit awkward. Need to do better on their attack.
Yeah, let's see if they even the score a little bit. Specifically with this pistol round, looks like they're looking at mid side, at the middle of the map, to initiate this attack. Mixwell setting up his wall as well for defending B. Probably won't need it. See how they do, also leaving the Killjoy turret there to see if anyone's pushing from B. Let's see if Kellogg's does that. Yeah, they really need a good start.
It was a very, it's a very, we're going to give up a lot of space on B main kind of wall. All for the retake and post plant for G2 on this B site defense. And on A, it's similar. Just seeing Avova give up the whole site. The only one that's put it in that pressure is Nucky, who decides to heal instead of dismiss. Desmond's there to quickly peek off of it. The trades for Vitality have been incredible, especially when they play it as tight as this. G2 not really working with much information. Kellogg's playing on his own on B. Isn't going to find much, but it's A site now starting to have Vitality members on it.
Yeah, Boba's probably hearing that. I mean, not exactly. He's literally going to hear the spike going down at some point, but he was too concerned about what was going on in mid. Probably because Colamento said they're trying to get in tube, they're trying to get in kitchen. Let's see what they're doing in mid. The spike is going to be planted. Now it's G2 that are going to have to regroup. See what Kellogg's does against Jesman here. They have the info, at least one of them is there. See what they do, they're pretty split. They need to group up. Maybe play in pairs.
Yeah, speaking of pairs, I was saying before about
Duos.
Spanish duos, a lot of them have come in saying David Villa, Torres, Xavi, Iniesta is... I more meant like hosts and celebrity people of that kind, not just well-known Spanish footballers, although there are some absolute gems in there. A good amount of young talent coming through, very similar to this G2 team, and Sender's done enough to hold on. Pistol round is going to them. It was a long attempt, and whilst Kellogg's is the last alive, it's not going to be his team taking the round. He's going to die just to keep money consistent with the rest of his team. Vitality pick up a fifth.
And again, Sender, even the guarantee on the round for his team, he's going to buy this Vandal. The light shield. The rest is going to go for Spectres, and we're going to have a G2 who's going for a full echo in this second round of their defense. They were pretty, kind of lost. They didn't know exactly how to face that situation. Maybe time was on their backs and just didn't figure out quite nicely. They still got all the kills. Still not enough. See how they do on this one. Pretty standard for Vitality this start.
Over instantly going to be touched in by the owl drone. Yeah. there was any doubt on where they were stood, he was obviously giving up. Leader heal is dead to bring him back to full health but no armor.
Coming back.
Amongst all of that, Vitality have pushed and prodded B and found themselves a completely deserted A site, and Brams is going to continue to explore.
he saw him.
He saw him. He saw Mixwell, but
he was
clearly
there.
didn't.
That crouching black thing, it was a Viper. Oh yeah, and they stacked on B here once they start feeling that they were gonna attack on there. But the spike has been planted on A, and with this pistols, with this classics, they need to find out how they're gonna do this back here with the position. He's gonna give up. He's gonna group up with his team. He trusts the close quarter, but he doesn't know how many of them are coming.
Back, coming in on the right-hand side, but Kellogg's was on the left. G2 have brought the numbers down, but it's been a lot of fights away from the site itself, and Kellogg's throwing himself into the pit as it will go down, but Jesmond catches the kill, and they lose in 2 players. Wonder what their money's going to be like going into the first full buy, but G2 have kept Vitality in check money-wise, but it's awkward for Vitality.
There's 2 things that I like a lot here, and he's Lamenta with the Odin. No, he sold it. No, come on.
Where would you play with the Odin on this map? Where's a good spot?
Probably on B. Probably on B. But also, yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy to just go with the Odin, but I would love it because I love Lamenta and Odin on Ascent, so I would like it here as well. Also, Kellogg's, again, with a glass cannon operator. Let's see if he finds the first one. Definitely has to be... Oh, even gets the spike on the floor. That's so big for them. I don't know how far Sender is from that rest. He's only 3 orbs away. Maybe they could work. They still have time to work around that. Still not fully necessary, but they already know that they're against Kellogg's on the operator, and they have, as I was saying before, no flashes or way to directly counter him, especially in a bonus round.
Sender's on the cheeky pick. I was a little worried that Mixwell might just turn around and get the kill in. We've seen that a couple of times. Soulcast doesn't need reminding of that. But
Sender is now.
Considering to be a threat in mid. Brams is now pushing through. Sender does go down, but Brams is able to at least open a door into this B site. The spike still might be a bit of a while before it's planted. Brams doesn't want to be too far away. Certainly if he wants to peek that angle, Kellogg's is keenly watching it with the operator.
Oh,
see the top of the head.
Oh. Close quarter. And again, he was playing an operator glass cannon. He's only not going to lose his ultimate. He's also going to lose that operator. Only Lamenta here with the Vandal. He probably is thinking of saving it. He doesn't see... He doesn't have enough info. He has no info at all. Or how he can manage it. He does have the recon, but... Yeah, Brams again. Still with the Spectre. Is he going to go for the operator? Yes.
Of course he is. He can't give up something like that on the ground. 7th round for Vitality. G2, fortunately, not really hitting their stride on their defense. Letting Vitality back into it, much like Vitality let G2 back into it on Breeze. It's pretty much the same, but on different maps and on opposite sides.
Yeah, let's see how this ends up. Coming up again, that Shiko. I like the word. I think I like pocket round more. That's classy, but yeah, let's see. Vag now with the operator that Kellogg's has given to him is gonna finish.
What? That's even more spectacular coming out of Nuki.
See,
slow down.
Still on the floor. Brams covering any kind of shot from B. Only Mixwell there. Oof.
Now Vitality finding the opening. Nuki started off strong, but there's only so much you can do with that kind of gun, and Evoke is actually going to slip by onto the Aldrin. The Aldrin does spot, but it's just a bit too late to act. Evoke has always made the finishing move. Mixwell, even if he isn't close enough to get a kill, spots the rotation of Vac, isn't going to take that duel again. He knows that he's up against the operator. But if he knew that Vac was down to 50 HP, would he have taken that fight potentially? Doesn't really matter. Brams takes him out the equation. Looks to be 8-all.
Yeah, so, I mean, someone has to know, you know, because with 3 players of your team down. You're Boba here with this Vandal. Still 3v1. Spike's been down. He can only wait to see if he can do any economic damage. Not gonna be a lot for him. Brams finishes him off. They even the scores. 8-8 for each team. That's kind of what I expected in some way. We know that Vitality picked this map for a reason. It was definitely their attack. They were weak on defense, but not that weak. So I was saying 5-7, 4-8 is something that I would take for a defense in ICEBOX.
Kellogg's really fell into the sightline of Vac there. Scores still even here. Vitality having the map advantage could take this series 2-0 if they can close out ICEBOX. G2, they need to reverse sweep, taking ICEBOX, then taking Ascent as the final third map. Both teams having a full buy, lots of ultimates certainly available for Vitality on this attack. Based off where Brams is with the lockdown, could plant down on A and give Vitality a bit of room to maneuver their way onto this A site, and for G2, they'd have to give up the space.
Yeah, and you're a psychic. Here's the lockdown that's gonna move them away from A, or there's gonna force any kind of interaction with them. Oh,
Ooh,
just gonna be a couple shot guards.
Oh, Coldamenta's not letting something like that get shut down, and it's such a common spot, he's going to add to it. He's absolutely styled on Brams, kills the lockdown, then shuts him through.
Yeah, they thought there's no Hunter's Fury, so let's use the lockdown. They just didn't know that Coldamenta has been in a lobby, probably just preparing that on a custom game for days.
Okay.
And he also finds 2. The spike goes on the floor. Coldamenta taking this round for G2, definitely what they needed. Still not over.
Vac is actually having to give up the operator and play in for a closer clutch. Coldamenta's still alive. Now he has the Hunter's Fury. Loki just used his. It was more a desperate play, and with 20 seconds left, it's going to be hard to try and make your way onto this site now. There's a gap using their own wall to try and get in onto this corner. At least in this spot, Vac can protect. Coldamenta is playing in close, breaking the wall as soon as that noise is given. He's already got a multi-kill. He's not going to quite be able to ace it out, but Nuki and Avova, like sharks, waiting for those kills. And what a round for Coldamenta.
Yeah, what a round. Not only with the shock darts, also with those 2 kills. He was kind of reckless there, but he also did a lot for his team. He was the only one defending on this A side, but he did nicely, and he definitely proven why he's, you know, the IGL. He's a daddy right now. Oh, and he's taking the Odin. Please don't bait me. Don't bait me, please.
The colder Odin.
This is spectacular. Let's see also Kellogg's on B long with that operator. Gets the info. No info.
No info at all. There's still money in the bank for Vitality. There's still plenty of ultimates. They only used the lockdown on the Hunter's Fury. They have some other stuff coming in, but we already kind of called out Vitality. Using too many ultimates in a short period of time means that they're barren for them for 5 or 6 rounds following. Resurrect is good. Case of emergency. The Bladestorm more safe for an eco. Sender actually trying to play for a boost of the wall. There's the Viper's Pit. We saw Mixwell play it in this position too, and Mixwell knows it can be really difficult to deal with. Tries to wall bank to see if he can get a rogue shot to hit in, but Vitality are playing within it. They planted the spike up in the high ground. And I think that's one of the reasons why Coldamenta wanted this Odin.
Yeah, and so you said where an asset B point. This whole B side, this whole tube is gonna be pretty hard for them. But also with the Viper's Pit. Oh, Mixwell find Jessamine. There's no more.
Oh, and there's the follow-up too. Hunter's Fury now is coming all the way in. Actually, from distance, is going to get onto Vac, but he's just hopping up to the high ground. Luckily, it's an angle that Kellogg's can clear close up. He's continuing on the trend. There's the triple kill, and now it's all up for Brams. He tries to take the fight onto Coldamenta, but isn't going to hit it. Doesn't know whether to peak high or low. The peak's low, gets Kellogg's and gets Coldamenta. That's a hell of a clutch for the Killjoy, and it keeps Vitality close to G2.
Jesus Christ, this run was even, not only on the scores right now with a 9-9, but honestly, with 10 HP and Kellogg's picking you from there, could you expect that he was going to do it? Because only 10 HP, Jesus. That was amazing.
He had such a decision to make, but he ended up making the right one. Kellogg's maybe a bit too out in the open looking for the fight. Brams, he's able to hit those shots and take those fights, but I feel like it was the setup for the round that just made it more in Vitality's favor. If that went G2's way, especially with this play into Kitchen and then the Viper's Pit on the top of the B site, would have been an exceptional retake from them. It had to be an amazing clutch to just stop them from doing that.
Yeah, we'll see right now the timeout from G2. I need some time to reset up this defense to see, again, where are the holes, where are our flaws, what's going on that we cannot counter. Because they win in the duels, but sometimes the duels are not what they're supposed to be. And looks like Vitality in this occasion is gonna go for an attack on A.
Here.
See how they decide to play, because B seems pretty empty from G2 right now. Maybe they're gonna go for something aggressive. Kellogg's definitely is gonna look for that orb. See if he can manage to get it and play with that Stormblade on this round. He only has one smoke though. Uplifts.
Kellogg's wanted that. He wanted the Blade Storm. He's gonna just have to hold on as Vitality really wanted to push for this position. Back is up on pipes. Loki catches Mixwell, who's on the top part of the A site. Vitality have been good at cleaning these angles and playing off of each other. Recondite is going to come through, but Coldamenta says no, you're not coming in. The Resurrect is forced out a little earlier than Vitality may have wanted.
Yeah, they also use the wall, but Nuki has different plans. Oh, that is so unlucky. He couldn't get the orb, he did get the Phantom, but he couldn't manage to get the kill. Still, the spike has not been planted, it's down the middle of the side, and they have to go across Coldamenta, Holden, and Odin to get that spike. Now, how do you do that with 40 seconds?
Holding the Odin. Still there, but Brams... It's that reticle, I tell you. It's a man possessed as he's found himself an opening, and I don't think this is going to be a position that Coldamenta is likely to expect. Now, time for Vitality is starting to become more of an issue, and now as G2 are starting to clear up the players, it's Brams again that slides on in. Another 2k for him. It not only puts Vitality even in the last round, but it allows them the lead.
Yeah, and I think they were pretty confused because we saw Brams walking around the map and being like, hey, they're not here, not there. And Jasmine was like, you know, I'm just gonna take this orb for my Viper's Pit. And then they saw Coldamenta, and now Brams just had... He was kind of like a bait, you know. He made the sound, he made the noise. I'm here, come for me. And just Brams finished what he... I mean, it was easy for him because obviously they didn't expect... I mean, they could expect that everyone was all over the map. It was not their task to fulfill on that 4v2. Viper's Pit from Mixwell here, trying to defend Spelong. The drone is gonna come chasing him. It's not gonna find him though. Just go back in. Pretty risky going back in if he wants to keep it up.
Vitality players are gonna get easier and easier to spray down. He finds the timing. He retakes back the space. It's only Vac that's able to stop it, and suddenly Vac has found himself a nice bit of opening. There is a Blade Storm still in play for Kellogg's. He's jumping onto the high ground, and he's taking the attention perfectly for Nuki to just close in on the left-hand side. Mixwell makes his ultimate work. Vitality are like, oh, it's not too bad in here, and then suddenly the hurt comes in. You're really looking at him play this agent, and it feels like he's been playing it forever. It's one of his favorites, one of the agents he played a lot in the closed beta, and so he's going to be loving life being able to play on this agent, and works out perfectly again.
Still, you know, you can see the weapon we have before he gets in the Viper's Pit, and with 3 people looking at him, I really thought that it was going to go for Vitality, but again, he surprised us, as you said, once again with that Viper. He looks really comfortable in. Boba taking an aggressive position here with Nuki on mid. It's gonna be enough though. Of course it is for Nuki.
Boba's there to follow up as well. This Xavi and Iniesta of Valorant playing side by side again. Suddenly Brams has found himself in it. If he can clutch this 1v4, it would be a fine collection. His turret spots something. Brams can play off of it, but look at the spike.
That he does with this crosshair. Oh,
Oh,
God.
it's continuing one by
he was
one.
jumping.
Nookie, it had to be him to sort of shut it down. Maybe if Brahms wasn't trying to hop up into the high ground at the same time, might have been agility one.
Yeah,
G2,
exactly.
nice response from them. They're in the lead.
They're in the lead now, but only for 1 round. Kelix want to make that more than 1, probably, and luckily 2. Gets that operator back in the game. Also Colamenta with the Odin. See what we can expect from them. How many ultimates? We see, obviously, Nuki with the Empress, because he's, destroying everyone. So the lockdown that they're not going to be, Vitality, they're not going to be feel extremely comfortable using, because they can't expect the Colamenta has a lineup with only a couple shock darts to finish it. It is standard. Nobody wants to be aggressive on this round. It's a very important round. Vitality loses this, their economy is not going to be the best for G2's map point. So they really need to be careful on this one.
Bova has the res. Space given up for Vitality wasn't as pressured as it has been usually, and Vova finds a nice spot of time to be able to slip in. B site looking to be where the spike is heading. A lockdown in one of the cubbies on B main might be enough to provide some space. G2 don't have the Hunter's Fury, and it's going to have to be a hell of a lineup for Cold Demented to shut that down if it gets placed in this spot. But maybe it's not even needed. Maybe Vitality want to just kind of ebb and push closer. This Killjoy lockdown planted in a position that really G2 need to respect.
Yeah, only 30 seconds for this execute is all that they're gonna have. Viper walls falling, also the lockdown to push them away from the side. Okay, also with the push, they finish with the mix wall. No controller for this. Spike's going down. They're gonna be able to plan almost freely. 4v5.
This is still doable for G2. Resurrect can be used to bring this to a 5 versus 5, and considering where the player has actually died, it's a bit out in the open. That might try and peek off of it instantly as soon as he hears it. But he's better to just play it safe. The Empress is actually diminished. It was used up from Nuki, and now it's gone down. Sender is trying to close in and stop these defuses. They're happy to run through hell and high water to avoid it from happening. Vitality now finding the fights. They played it incredibly patiently, and it worked out wonders. 11-11 now, Vitality versus G2. This is the kind of series you want to see.
Yeah, this is more like we expected, what we wanted to see. Also, timeout coming out from G2. This is the second one, correct me if I'm wrong, in this map. They really need to see where this is going, because they're 2 rounds away from going into that loser bracket. There's still, even if for the people, I know that that first game was an elimination, but this one is not. G2, if they lost this map and lost the series, they would have another chance on the lower bracket. So don't cry just yet, okay? This is not all over, even if they lose against this Vitality. See what they can manage. And also that round, they didn't even counter that res, because they were so sure about their post plan. They say, let's do what we know. We know how to take this on. Just if they want to be 5, we're more old for us.
Yeah, let's not try and rush it. And the ultimate got used. Really, the extra player in a full 5v5 retake doesn't really do much damage at all to Vitality. G2 frozen in place. We can see Coldamenta with the Odin still low. He's looking to run with it. But I do wonder, quick look at the scoreboard. Yep, the money is fine. Kellogg's having to run with a Marshall, but that could still be quite intimidating. He's going to be on the rafters of A. Vitality, a quick B hit. Mixwell, we won't have the Viper's Pit to rely on yet again for a multi-kill. Playing far back with the toxic screen. Actually, it's not contesting B main at all, so Mixwell needs to be careful here. Spot somebody, throw down a couple of snake bites, and the fact finds that opening onto Nuki, that's very concerning considering where Mixwell is.
And Mixwell cannot go for the refrag, but he can go and find Sender. Just gonna finish up with his life. They know what the spike is. They also know that they don't have the Viper, they don't have the wall, they don't have the smokes to counter this entrance from Vitality. They're still thinking about it. They're not entirely sure. They know that there were 2 players on the B side. They don't know about Jessamyn's position, and he's only playing with a Marshall, that full shield, but We all know that that's enough for him.
It's an important play that Vitality have lost, though. The Sage means that there's not going to be a wall. I don't really know why Kellox goes for that push. G2 had a nice position, a nice maneuver to make things a little bit more difficult for Vitality to make a decision. If they go back, they're going to be met with 2 players watching to rotate. Kellogg's dying there. Gives them an easier time to plant on B, and it starts to get a bit sweatier now for Vova and for Coldamenta. And after this, they're doing some damage. Back is quite low health, so as Vova is forced to heal.
They're waiting for the next wall to go plant. Still 20 seconds and take care, because Coldamenta with this Odin can do a lot of damage. They may lose this out of time.
Oh yeah, the time is still good.
Oh my god.
That Coldamenta Odin could come in to absolutely ruin Vitality, and it does. Oh, what a dramatic way to lose it for G2 to go on match point. Oh, there's so much analysis and breakdown, but Odin Gubber, that's it. That is it. Coldamenta absolutely mentally booms Vitality with one of the cheesiest guns in the game, to say.
Where is it worth? Well, definitely it's on B. Even on that 4B2 situation, they knew, and they had really like hard decision there, because and also this round is gonna tell us if G2 gets this map and we go on to that 3rd map, or they close it here. Sorry, they close it here. We go to overtime. I'm still thinking about that, Odin. They didn't have much time, okay, but they had 4 players still walking too slowly across that Viper's wall. Definitely did not work on their favor. And Jesus the Odin. It was a really important round, because if G2 had lost it and reserved no guns, they would have no money to buy on Vitality's match point.
The Odin and the Hunter's Fury, both of those can certainly go through walls and do a lot of damage. Vitality do have stuff to work with. That's a very early Hunter's Fury, and it's well timed.
Oh,
that's Loki out of the field. The Viper's Pit has made its way onto site, and Kellogg's now up on the high ground. Yeah, you're right. It's back to a 5 versus 5. There's no reason to hold on to these ultimates for Vitality. Because of that advantage, I suppose, for G2, they stepped back a little bit. Provided Vitality room, and with that Viper's Pit, it's going to be a real issue to get through all of this. But Nuki finds a way to re-kill Loki.
Yeah, he finds the kill. They need to break the wall, and they need to counter this post plan. Mixwell also finds back. It's a 3 situation, 3v3. Oh god, it's impossible to imagine what's happening here.
Grams is... it's all really coming down to post-plant utility, potentially. At least playing far away. The wall has been broken. Kellogg's wanted to try and find who's left, but Sender is going to try and spray through. Kellogg's trying to hold his nerve, but the 4K for Sender is there, and an overtime on ICEBOX ensues.
Another time, Sender just being Sender. I mean, they wanted to get this plan, just do it as classical as possible, as classic as possible. Because on this round, you need to go for something safe. You know, you know that you have this Killjoy, that you have this Viper, that you also have the Soba. Let's just play post plant. It's too typical, but we need something that we can rely on, and it was definitely that post plant. Didn't look that way when they were still falling to G2's hands, but Sender just had his own plans.
Really hasn't been too much to separate these two teams. It's going to continue. G2 still need to win this map just to bring us to a 3rd and final one. For Vitality, they take this 2-0, move up a little bit further in the upper bracket. Be facing up against Fnatic, and Fnatic 1-0 up against 10-Star. Really want to see G2 versus Fnatic just because it's such a big name, certainly if you come from League.
Yeah.
Also, Vitality, you don't really want to write them off early, because they have been, frankly, the better team in the series.
Yeah, so far. See, on Breeze, but this map, it's so close. Like, the attack from both teams. And with the aggression here, Coldamenta finishes off with his live Loki with the refrag. Kind of late, but he's also going to use the drone. Kind of risky that, but looks like it's going to work. Vagdas here.
Oh, this is balls of steel. But Kellogg's does check it. So maybe thinking, this doesn't seem quite right, and just checks in the right spot overall. A Sage Wall is needed. One of the key components that was missing when Vitality went for that hit and the Odin shot it down. The Snakebite, it's a nice lineup, but just the wrong side of the wall. Vova is still holding close. Now, does Jesman know that the Sage is still going to be there? Well, he's going to try and break this wall. Not quite done it just yet, and Vova is playing very close. I don't know if Vitality are going to expect this, and there's only 2 players left. Yeah, they're not holding that angle. G2 on match point yet again.
Yet again, let's see if they can close it this time and we can go to that final map. That is going to be, what was it going to be, Ascent? Or...
Yes, yeah.
Nice. That's a nice pick. Either ICEBOX or Ascent, I would love to see these teams play on. I actually want a 3rd map, no matter what happens on that 3rd map, because I want to see more of these 2 teams. Long time without seeing G2, you know, playing against a team that really makes it hard for them to win, and especially with all we've been saying about the new roster and all the changes and all the new agents and everything for them. Really important here in Vova, taking the risk of an aggression here on mid. Oh! Then they're gonna expect him though.
I definitely love watching both of these teams. I'm happy for this series to keep going as a neutral. Kellogg's good for 1. He's constantly being caught out. Bit over egregious. Not really seeing G2 rein him in all that much. But
why
Nuki,
is no one watching out for him?
that is the 2nd time that's happened.
Yes! I mean, the first one I can, you know, because we all fall sometimes. But we have to learn from our mistakes.
There's gaps in the play, and G2 love to exploit them. If it was the G2 from 2020 on now, it's similar stuff. The Sender superhero is here. Now they're going to try and plant in on that B site, and that's a key pick. Coldamenta going down. The heal is going to bring Sender back up to decent health, and a bit of an opening in a window to plant that spike. Vova tries to take the Jewel from distance. Vitality get that information, and Sender's going to continue to push. I don't think Vova would maybe expect to see a Sage this close up. They're going to continue to push. This is a bit messy from Sender.
He's gonna go for this. Oh no, he doesn't. They were too far. Sorry.
There's Nuki. He could clutch it out. He's gonna peek around this angle, but Jesman's watching it, and we go for a 2nd round of overtime. And all off the back of Sender yet again, who has been the superhero that Vitality have needed. He's 26 and 20.
He's literally a Sage duelist. I mean, his movement is just too smart on the map. We've seen it multiple times, even on this last round. He's just reckless sometimes. Reminds me a little bit of Scream when he plays Sage. And it all comes to the attack of these teams. You know, we all know that they're both excellent as attack. So really need to see. Oh, we're seeing Operator for Vac on this defense. Let's see if it's enough.
I think we're seeing a bit of nerves as well coming out of Kellogg's now. Utilities kind of fluffed a bit. Makes sense. He's only 18. This is probably the biggest game that he's played. A lot of pressure on, and he's up against a hell of a team in Vitality. Now, of course, you get used to these situations quickly. Kellogg's really just needs somebody to tell him to mentally reset, play it back. It's what Sentinels did very well with 10s. Just keep that player on a leash to an extent, and it's exactly what he's doing at the moment. Not overstepping the boundaries, and Vitality going in for this retake on B.
And just like Vitality needed to win that round to take it to overtime and played it simple and played it classic, this is what G2 is doing right now, playing a classic post plant.
We're going for the peak. That's nice. It's even better, and it's a shock that from Coldamenta from all that way. That's actually the one that makes sure that no more kills can happen from him. Now Vitality going in for the defuse, but Coldamenta, the shock dart, and then finally the 2 kills finishing on to Vac gives match point back to G2.
Let's see if they finally can close it this time on their favor. As I was telling you, pretty classic. Let's just go through back to basis when we really need a round. Let's put all that we know on the simplest thing, so we can have a nice execute, especially because of what you were saying, right? With this score, things are really, really tough mentally. You need to stay there 100%. So just go the easy way. Again, Vitality attacking. If they get it again. This is gonna be like the match again between Alliance and 19 Esports.
Vac having to hold his nerve, because if you give a split second for Nookie to push through Tube, he will get a kill. An Eldron might be misinformation for Nookie. He might not be expecting a player to be in that spot. Well, he'd be right now at least. He might have heard someone clumping move away to A. Now Mixwell is there. His toxic screen is going to go up, but Brams has managed to make his way through and won't need to be triggered by the decay. Mixwell, he doesn't want to get caught out here, and hopefully G2 are giving this a lot of space. It's just called Dementa, just like a woodpecker just chipping away, and that's a very key kill from Mixwell.
Nice. He also uses that Venom to try and postpone the plan, but it's not gonna be possible. Still, it's a 5v4 situation. The retake is gonna start anytime soon. They're starting to take that control over the site. Good for them.
Remembers of Vitality, now bring the honors even. Just dwindling bit by bit. Sender just caught with utility in hand. That is so unlike him, and now Loki has to clutch it out, otherwise we're going to Ascent. Snakebite is going to create a bit of space, and Mixwell knows exactly where he is. That's key. Finding these kills. Now up to Mixwell, but he peeks it just before he's shown up from the recon dart. I don't know if there's enough time. It's going to be incredibly close. 0.3 seconds. We're going to